p.m. My wake up time naturally is about 5 a.m. It's the kind of thing where you wake up and you're awake, you're ready to go. So that's why at work I try to schedule most of my important work early in the morning, because about 2 o'clock after it's like a toy that kind of winds down.
Yeah,
I always wondered
oh, go ahead.
I always wondered why those people marry each other. The night person marries the morning person.
Balance, I guess,
I guess.
Like in the immortal words of Paula Abdul, opposites attract. I think that's it.
Yin and yang.
There you go.
We are now live on YouTube and recording. And we will begin in 3 minutes.
Hey, Peter, what time do you have to drop off?
At about 10:15 or 10:16.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, I had to pop off really quick, so I don't know if any other conversation. But I love it when our grandbabies come, and cause like you say, Darren, I'm an early to bed person, so I tell my wife, say, okay, you got them after 9, I get them in the morning. So I do the breakfast thing, and then she does the night thing.
There you go.
How old are they?
She's 8 years old.
Oh.
And the other ones are teenagers. They pretty much stay up all night until I come down and say, hey, I gotta get some sleep. Go to bed. Yeah.
All right, we have 1 minute to the top of the hour.
All right. I'm run up and help my beautiful wife get logged in. So she's calling me.
I think she may have gotten in.
Did you see her? You see her? Oh, there she is.
Yes, there he is. Okay.
Okay.
Welcome, fellow Toastmasters, to the District 22 Leadership Symposium and Hall of Fame. I want to welcome you on this fine day, and we will learn a little bit in leadership, as well as celebrate those that have earned awards in the past year, and really just have a nice celebration of our past year. A little bit of housekeeping for those, or as a courtesy to those that are speaking, if you could remain muted unless you are speaking, that would be appreciated. We will not be having an official break during this event, so please feel free to get up and take a bio break if you need to, but we won't be stopping for a specific break during our event. I would now like to introduce our MC for today's event, Program Quality Director, Christy Prophet.
Thank you, District Director Joanne. Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for getting up and joining us at this event. I know in the years past, it's been something that we've gathered together in person and really enjoyed. And yes, we are doing it a little different, but that's okay. We're still doing it. And I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about all of the wonderful successes and awards that we look forward to presenting today. And also some of our leadership opportunities that we have to talk about during this event as well. I do want to introduce our keynote speaker today. We're going to do things a little bit different. It's not going to be him just talking and just facilitating or just talking to you. We're going to have a facilitated discussion. It's going to be very interactive with him, and I look forward to that as well. I want to tell you a little bit about Rob Wooley. He resides in Christchurch, New Zealand. He's an entrepreneur, corporate trainer, an online trader, and earned his degree in business studies from Massey University, majoring in management. Rob's leadership experience includes regional director of the Mccoy program, which we'll talk more about, multiple district positions within Toastmasters, and he is the current District 72 district director. He's been a member of Toastmasters for 13 years and is also a multi-district contest finalist and place setter. Rob's focus and forte has always been taking and creating opportunities to grow and develop. He sees leadership in Toastmasters as an opportunity for encouraging members to do the same. Rob is motivated by building relationships, personal and professional growth, being inclusive, and encouraging participation at all levels. But paramount is enjoying being a member of Toastmasters. And I do want to also caveat that in Christchurch, New Zealand, it is 3 a.m. So I really appreciate him joining us at this hour. And if you could, there we go. Good morning, Rob. How are you? Good afternoon. Well, it's still morning for both of us.
Yeah, it is morning, and I am awake, and I'm alert as well. So yeah, it's amazing for me anyway.
And you are ahead of us, so it's not 3 a.m. It's 3 a.m. going into Sunday morning, correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, I do appreciate your sacrifice. I don't know that I could have done it. I think we talked about this before we even realized that time change. So again, thank you for doing that. Tell us a little bit. I just am interested about your Toastmaster journey and how you got started and what brought you to Toastmasters.
I can tell you that my journey, my experience of Toastmasters began in about 2001. And I went along to a Toastmaster meeting because a friend was a member, and I was absolutely petrified. I went along, I did an introduction, lasted for half a minute. I escaped off the stage and I thought, I survived that. We'll never have to do any more speaking at Toastmasters ever again. And then about 7 years later, I did a course for my stutter because I have a stutter. And basically they said, we want everybody to go to Toastmasters because while you've learnt your technique in this room to be able to control your speech, the only way you constantly improve your speech is to constantly push out your comfort zone. So join Toastmasters and you'll get all of those opportunities to face the fear and to do it anyway. So that's how I joined.
So tell me about your stuttering, and there is an organization, the Mcguire program, that you've been involved in. Tell us a little bit about that and how you got involved in that.
The thing about the Mcguire program, or a lot of the programs that work on overcoming a stutter, is that you're never cured of the stutter. So whereas you may join Toastmasters and you want to overcome the fear of public speaking, if you like, then you turn up, and I do actually think at some stage, some people do actually overcome their fear. With a stutter is that if you're not working on your stutter's kind of working on you. So I explain stuttering like walking up an icy mountain, is that if you keep on walking, you get higher and higher up the mountain. But the moment you stop, you kind of start sliding down. And I've realized that confidence is like that. So one of the mantras that we had, or guiding principles to overcome a stutter, is do not avoid. So I've really applied that in Toastmasters, and Toastmasters is a fantastic forum for that, is that if there's a little bit of fear around something, then that's what you must do. Otherwise, the fear is just going to get bigger and bigger. I don't think fear just stays the same size. It can grow the more power that you give to it. And I realize that if opportunities come up and I think, oh, there's a little bit edgy, that, not too sure that I'd feel totally comfortable, well, there's the win. And I realize that if I recognize that in other people as well, and I say, hey, you know, like, how would you feel? Would you feel totally relaxed if I were to give you this role, or if you were to take this particular role? If there's a little bit of fear around it, there's a win in it.
The Mcguire program, is that a nonprofit, or tell me a little bit more about that organization?
Yeah, Mcguire is a program that originated in the United States in about 1994. And there was a guy called Dave Mcguire, and he ran a behavioral change course for teenagers. He had a degree in psychology, but he also had a stutter. And he was working on these youths to basically change their behavior from being a delinquent, if you like, to being a productive member of society. And I think it used to operate in Nevada or California. Unfortunately, even though he'd developed this program and worked on this program and it was really successful, his stutter was getting in the way. And the people that were helping to fund the course actually took the course off him because of his stutter. And that may sound like a really bad thing to happen, but the thing that I've realized is that usually something bad has to happen for anybody to change. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you've got to hit rock bottom before you get angry enough to say, hey, I have to do something about this. And exactly the same thing happened for me, because in 2007, I had reminders for 3 years to do the Mcguire program. And I had always come up with excuses, a bit like probably we've got friends who we think would do really well joining Toastmasters, but, I would, but, I haven't got the time. But for me, I hit rock bottom because I'm an antique dealer as well. And one client called up and wanted to sell me a lifetime collection of antiques. And I just couldn't get a word out. I literally froze on the phone, and the lady had asked me my name. I just couldn't get Rob Wooley out. In fact, I couldn't get a sound out. And she thought I was avoiding saying my name. And her word was, if you're not prepared to tell me your name, I'm not prepared to deal with you, and hung up. That was the time that I moved.
That's that directly affected your business. That directly affected you in a lot of ways and impacted you in financially, probably, or opportunities that you missed because of that. And you had served as regional director in the Mcguire program. Translate that into like Toastmaster leadership. What role was that? What did you do in that role?
The regional director is as high as you can go. So you can, you arrive into the program, you're a student after you've done a 4-day course. So imagine this, imagine that you attended a Toastmaster meeting and you were doing table topics nonstop, and that meeting went for 14 hours a day for 4 days in a row, because that's what a course in Mccoy at that time was. 14 hours, constant talking. And so at the end of that, there was like literally to do a public speech was easy because we had been talking nonstop inside a room and having to strike up a conversation with 100 strangers as well, and use our technique and our breathing and our establish and maintain eye contact and all this. But the interesting thing is that we became so disciplined that you just went and did what you needed to do. There was no second guessing. And I think for whatever reason at that time in my life, I just bought into it. I am, as anybody would know, I question the status quo all the time. It's who I am. I constantly believe that whatever we're doing, somehow it can be improved. And so in Mcguire, I was exactly the same. So I was always questioning. So I went in as a student, became a graduate, became a coach, became an instructor, became a director, and ultimately a regional director. And so I managed to look after the program in New Zealand, and I've instructed the Mcguire program in New Zealand, Australia, and in India. So I've been around the world a little bit with Mcguire. So yeah, it was essentially as high as you could go at the time.
Wow. And how, translate that for me, how did being involved in the Mcguire program at that level, how did that impact your personal career and business?
Fundamentally changed it. Absolutely. Like, I began in a career as an antique dealer in 2002. And the interesting thing with an antique career is that you don't worry about selling your product, you worry about buying it, because you can only sell anything and make any money if you own the product. So the greatest bottleneck to making a profit is going to the owner of antiques and negotiating the purchase. And that relies totally on communication, knowing what to say, when to say it. And I realized that sometimes when I was speaking to a customer, I couldn't say what I wanted to say. And there's a little story that I tell people that I did a house call once. And I used to feel really bad if I offered any price below $100. So I went in there and there were a few items. I didn't really need them, but I was there and I thought, well, I may as well make an offer. So I thought the items were worth $60, but is a stutter sound for a lot of people who stutter. So I thought, well, maybe I should go lower to 50. I thought, oh, that's not really ethical because they're worth more. And then I went to the next highest price, 70. Well, that's another sound. So I ended up offering 80, and the person came back and said, would you round it up to 100? I go, no, I didn't even want to pay 80. but you sometimes become a passenger to your fear. And the fear of stuttering takes over, and you just follow the path of least resistance. And I decided I didn't want to do that. And Mcguire allowed me to stop just being a passenger and actually get into the driver's seat, drive me to where I wanted to go. And I've actually found, particularly this year as district director, is that so many things come up. It is so easy to become a passenger. It's so easy to think, do I really want to uphold my values or the mission that we're trying to achieve this year? Or do I just want to make everybody happy? And it's always a balance. But I ask myself, if I wasn't in a position of fear here, if I wasn't worried about offending anybody, what would I really do? What do I really think is best for the members, for the district in this particular situation? So I'm always checking in. Am I a passenger to this, or am I the driver? And sometimes you want to be the driver, and sometimes you need to go right down the middle.
Sometimes it's easier to be the passenger, because you can, when I'm the passenger on a trip, I'm sleeping. I'm not paying attention, and I don't need to. So that thought of that analogy of being a passenger or a driver, when you are the leader, when you are the person in leadership having to make those decisions, it's a very difficult time to be the driver sometimes, because you cannot please everybody. You cannot make everyone happy, and you have to make that decision. The bottom line is this good overall? Is this good for the member? And do I need to really just break it down and explain why I'm making the decisions I'm making? Sometimes you do, and sometimes you just have to stand up and make the decisions and move on. So I understand that balance, and it is tricky sometimes, especially when you're in a volunteer organization. And so tell me were you overlapping McGuire and Toastmasters? Were you doing them at the same time?
Well, yeah, I am. I could actually undo my shirt right now, and you would see that strapped around my chest is a belt. And I'm not going to do that. I'll scare everybody who's watching, but I've got a belt around my chest because it allows me to check in with my breathing and make sure that I'm speaking in technique. I don't have to do that, but I decided to do it today because every time I put a belt on, I mentally zoom back to McGuire. I mentally zoom back into the room when I did McGuire for the first time. And it gives me that solidity. And what I've realized with Toastmasters is that Toastmasters gives you experience in certain roles. And like it may give you experience as a speaker, as a leader, a passenger or a driver. And those experiences are the things that you can tap into when you go outside of Toastmasters and say, what experiences have I got? Well, my experiences in McGuire were quite profound. Is that if you ever run into a person who has done the McGuire program, or basically anything that's probably changed their life fundamentally, is that there's certain aspects that they bought into and they've carried through. So the main mantra that we had in McGuire was do not avoid. And I know that I take that into Toastmasters. Like a person asked me, Rob, how come you're district director? And I said, I didn't want to avoid not applying for it. And I thought that the past year, there was an opportunity. I didn't go up the rank. I didn't go to club growth director, program quality director. I went from an administration manager who had done other roles around club growth, around program quality. And I thought, district director is the one that would challenge me. It's the role that is unlike any of the other roles that I've done. And it was the right choice for me at the time. And I think that if confronted with a choice between yes or no, ask yourself, so which one is avoiding? Sometimes you don't have to say yes because you've done it before. You're not going to get anything out of it. And maybe you look around and there's other people that are going to get more out of that than you. And your role as a leader is to encourage them to not avoid and to take that opportunity. This year, being district director was a challenge. I knew it was going to be a challenge. I thought for me, with my stutter, which I still have to control, to run a district executive committee meeting or a district council meeting would be a challenge. It has been a challenge, but I've faced it. They've gone really well. And I'm really enthused and looking forward to the next 8.5 months of other challenges.
Sorry, I was muted. I apologize. I have like animals and people and stuff on this side, so I'm making sure I was muted so you didn't hear a dog bark or something. Part of this virtual world we're living in. We have talked several times, and what I like about some of the things that you do in your leadership style is you simplify. You don't overcomplicate things. And one thing that you talked about as far as your Toastmaster journey or a Toastmaster journey is those 4 things that you mentioned about some of us come into Toastmasters with some experience. Some of us come in not afraid to speak, but maybe want to polish that. Some of us come in afraid. I mean, we're all here at different times, different journeys, different experiences, but you simplified something that I want you to elaborate on about the 4 steps that you walk in and you're not good, even if you think you are. So start with that one, you're not good, and tell us those 4 things that you explained to me of that process.
So you're probably referring to the 4 stages of learning. And I have an interesting way of explaining this if I'm training to an audience in person. And I'm not too sure I can actually use that in front of an American audience, particularly when I'm supposed to be behaving. But the first stage is you're not very good and you don't know it. And the next stage is you're not very good and you do know it. The third stage is you're reasonably good if you really work hard at it. And the last stage is you're fantastic at it and it's just completely automatic. So those basically are the 4 stages that you go through when you're learning any skill. So that's pretty basic, and I think everybody understands that. But I think that model of the 4 stages of learning can be applied to absolutely everything. And it kind of explains almost the entire program of Toastmasters. That you may arrive in, and I'm sure we've all seen this, right? We'll see people who turn up at a club for the first time, and they're absolutely amazing. They stand up, they introduce themselves, they're flawless. In fact, we had a radio DJ turn up at Toastmasters. He was better than probably anybody in the room. The strange thing is that he didn't think he was. But having watched us, he thought he was probably better than he even was. So he didn't join. But the interesting thing is that some people can turn up and they think they're a lot better than they are. And we can as well. So you move from stage 1 of not being very good and not knowing to not being very good and knowing because somebody's told you. And that's essentially where your evaluator comes in, or your mentor if you have one, if you've already joined. But I think that's a really important role, that a leadership role that some people kind of shy away from. Like, we've all heard evaluators, and we've probably done it ourselves at some stage, where the speaker or the leader, whoever it is that we're evaluating, has got a fault, but we don't want to tell them. It's a little bit tricky to broach. But if nobody tells anybody where their flaws are, they can't move in that 4 stages of learning because they don't realize it's a problem. And to point out somebody's problem, to point out as I usually say, to point out an area of potential improvement is something that we actually owe to people. We just have to communicate that in a tactful way. So to move from not being very good and not knowing to not being very good and knowing is awareness. To move from not being very good but knowing to being okay if we think about it is knowledge. A person has said, here's what you're not doing so well, but here's what you could do to be better at it. And so the person can take that information, that knowledge, and apply it. But they've probably got to spend quite a lot of thought in order to do it. But if they keep doing it, and this is how we move from being okay if we think about it to being really good and maybe mastering it, is practice. So if we take that information, that knowledge that our evaluator or mentor has given us, and we apply it over and over and over and over, then we master it. And I think that one of the frustrating things sometimes is that some people come in and you think this person could be really, really good, but they're not aiming for really, really good. They're just aiming to not be bad. And sometimes they don't actually see the opportunity or the potential in them. And I think that is another leadership opportunity for us as well, to explain, hey, I see something in you and I do know what it is. And that those words of encouragement, I know I've heard, and I've certainly given to other people as well. Tell other people what you see in them, and tell other people how they can improve, because otherwise they may just keep going through with those same flaws for a long, long time.
Absolutely. It only benefits them if we can help them be self-aware, and we do it in a positive way. We do it in an uplifting, encouraging way. And one thing that I've kind of made my motto or my mantra is we rise when lifting others, because when I'm helping someone else get to their goals, I'm also gaining from that as well. I'm learning skills and I'm developing leadership opportunities by helping someone get to where they want to go. And sometimes our members walk in and they don't really know where it is they're wanting to go. They just know they need something. And so it's our responsibility as leaders within our clubs, starting even at that level, to help them develop that and help them figure that out. So tell me, in your part of the world, how is your district as far as people stepping up to leadership? I think that's a challenge in general. I know it's a challenge for us. Do people see value in stepping into leadership in your district?
Wow, that's a really interesting question right at this time. Is that in New Zealand, there is no COVID at all, apart from a small handful that is flown in and is in hotels at the moment. So we could have face-to-face meetings, and in fact, all of our clubs are, unless it is a corporate. But there's something going on at the moment where we had gone into lockdown and some people mentally are still there. And while the clubs are meeting in person, at area, division, everything is online, and it's really frustrating. And it's one thing that I'm trying to get people out, because I think that to create in-person events here at the moment, there's so many leadership opportunities. I feel there's actually more leadership opportunities to create in-person events, because it is essentially more work. you're having to organize, like the venues, right, and a lot of other things. Online is perhaps our easy option at present, and we're so lucky to be in a unique, well, not a unique situation, right, but relatively speaking around the world, right, New Zealand has done really well, and we're quite fortunate. But we do need people to step up. We do need people to come up with the ideas to create opportunities for other people. We do need events, educationals, workshops, social events to happen. And of course, at the start of this year, well, actually slightly before the start of this particular Toastmaster year, when I got elected, there were 10 area directors out of a potential 29, 19 positions to fill. And we thought, wow, that's going to be some mission. Well, all but one has been filled, right? And they were filled quite quickly. So the leaders of last year, when they focused, did really well. But our district, I think, has suffered because in the past 2 or 3 years, many of the leaders have taken it upon themselves to do everything. Mm-hmm. And if we don't delegate, if we hold on to all of those opportunities ourselves, then somebody's missing out. And we're not going to necessarily be around in the next 12 months to help other people. So you need to kind of bring leaders through when you are a leader. As I have explained, I will feel I've done a good job this year as a leader if I make myself obsolete. If I were to disappear at the end of this year, nobody will miss me. In fact, if I could make myself obsolete this year, it'd be even better. So I really feel that our job is to, in fact, just today, I realized that we should be constantly trying to find successes. Their succession plan is not like a month out or 2 or 3 months before the end of the year. You go, who's my successor? You're constantly looking around, okay? Who can I encourage to take one opportunity anywhere that's just going to broaden their horizon? Mm-hmm. And I think that if I look back when I was an area director or a division director, I tried to create as many opportunities around so that people understood what area looked like. People understood what division looked like. They met the other people. They met area directors. They met the division directors, the trainers, etc. They got comfortable around those people. And so when the opportunity comes towards the end of the year to step into those leadership roles, the barrier has basically been gone from moving from what I know to what I don't know. And in fact, it's been substituted with, well, actually, if I take this area director role, division director role, trainer role, I'm going to be working with those cool people that I worked with last year. Mm-hmm. And I think the same happens for district as well, is that there is always a gap of knowledge, of comfort moving from one level to the next. And so this year, our PRM, our club growth director, our program quality director, and myself have to explain to everybody else, here's what we do. And I think actually a measure of success, what gets measured gets managed, is that we've done a great job if there's more than one person applying for each role. All right, if we get to the end of the year and there were 3 people, 4 people, 5 people applying for club growth or any of those other roles, fantastic. If people are going to miss out, then find them another opportunity. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If we had 3, 4, or 5 people applying for one position, that would be tremendous. That would be tremendous to know that many people were passionate and interested in stepping up. and that they understand and can translate what this would mean for them and what this would do for them in their real life. You talked a little bit about delegation. I'm very self-aware. That's my challenge. I am not a good delegator. I want to take things on and do them. Maybe because I don't want to bother somebody. It's not because I think it's going to be done best if I do it. It's not that. It's more of a confidence thing I lack that confidence of wanting to ask someone to do something for me. I don't want to bother them. And that's been a very huge challenge in my leadership journey that I'm self-aware of. Doesn't mean I've been able to tackle it so much, but I'm very self-aware of that. And as you know, in Toastmasters, we talk about all different types of things. You hear speeches about all different subject matters. One of my best known speeches to the people down in my part of the district is about a kitten getting caught in a dryer and the story behind that. And it's a true story. And I'm going to practice that one. I gave it like 2 years ago. I'm going to practice that one and do it again for those members around here that hadn't heard that one. It's hilarious. At the time, not so much, but 20 years later, yeah, it's hilarious. So you hear all kinds of things. And I gave a speech once about a manager that I had that was the best delegator I've ever came across in my life. And I quickly learned when I started working for her that in order for me to get to the bathroom, I had to walk in front of her office door. And about, maybe the third or fourth time I did that, I realized I better bring a pen and paper with me because she's going to delegate something to me. I'm going to say, sure, no problem. I'm going to go to the bathroom and I'm going to forget what she asked me to do. And then I'm going to come back and have to ask her what it was and feel embarrassed. So I always had a little Post-it pad and a pencil every time I went to the bathroom because she would see me go by her door. She would stop me abruptly and ask me it was always make labels. She was very organized. And can you make me a label? Can you make me a label? I was her assistant. And I thought, by the time you stop, ask me to make a label and this and that, you could have done it yourself. And then I realized she's not getting paid to make labels. She's getting paid to make the big decisions. I'm getting paid to make the labels. So make the damn label, just go for it. But I had to write that down because she was just so good at being organized and delegating those little small tasks that took her away from that bigger part of her job. And she gave it to me. So I'm very, very self-aware about that. And I gave a speech about that, about how good she was and how I had to learn how to adapt myself so that I could keep up with all the things that she was able to delegate to me. One thing you and I have talked about that I want you to elaborate on is something that reminds me of this. And when we talked about it, we didn't have one of this, but tell everyone about what you talked about leadership in regards to a rubber band.
So I did my degree really late in life, and one of the papers that we had to do was on leadership. And at that time, I didn't consider myself a leader, but if you're at university, you get told to do something, you go and do it. Mm-hmm. So the concept of the rubber band is this, and I have applied this in a lot of training that I do because it's hands-on and you can pair people up. So I get them to hold up one finger each, and I say, I want you to connect yourself with your partner via the finger and have a rubber band around it. And then I say, I want you to work out who out of the two of you is the leader. And so I let them kind of play around with that for like a minute or so, and they kind of come up with ideas. Well, I think I'm the leader. Oh, I think I'm the leader. How do you know? And they go, well, I don't know. I think I'm stronger. So they have all of these crazy made up ideas of how they worked out who was the leader. But the concept is actually that we are taught at my university anyway, is that leadership is about influence, not manipulation or anything like that. It's about influencing another person. And the idea is that rubber band represents the relationship between the leader and the follower. And the interesting thing is that there's actually no clear leader and there's no clear follower. We just think there is. If we get bestowed a title, then we may think we're the leader. If somebody else hears our title, they may think we're the leader because of the title. But actually the title is nothing. And as you will have worked out in your work life, your personal life, or whatever, if you are the boss, you are not always the boss. So at my club, several years ago, I was the president, and I found myself in a really interesting situation, is that if anything semi-controversial came up, I would say what the situation was and maybe say what my solution was. And then I'd kind of cast a sneaky look over to a lady that was on our committee. If she was nodding, I knew it was okay. If she wasn't nodding, I was wondering what the conversation was going to be, whether people would take on my idea. And I realized that my perception of Michelle was that Michelle was this calm, open-minded, considerate, kind, thinking person. And if she, in her objective state, thought that this was a good idea, then gently she would nod. And if she didn't, there was no reaction. Even though I was president and she was the VP Ed, I think in some way, Michelle was the leader. And I looked to her to see, where are you? So if there had been a rubber band around myself and Michelle, figuratively speaking, if I moved one way with an idea, how much resistance was I going to get from the follower? If she stayed put or even moved in the opposite direction, how much influence or pressure did she subtly exert on me? The idea around the rubber band is that at any particular time, the leader only leads if the relationship with the follower continues to exist. And if the follower moves too fast some other way, or the leader moves away from where the follower is at too fast, the rubber band breaks. The leader ceases to be the leader, the follower ceases to be a follower. And it's one of those things that no matter how passionate you are as a leader, that you definitely need to make this decision. You need to take this action. You need to go in any particular direction. If your followers aren't going to come with you, then you at that moment cease to be a leader. Your job is to influence and persuade your followers, this is the way to go. And hopefully they're going to have a look at you and see more than just the title. They're going to see, yeah, we respect this person enough to trust that they're doing the right thing. And that trust needs to be developed. That respect needs to be nurtured. And so I always consider, I really want to do this, but if my followers of my team are adamant that this is wrong, how much influence can I exert without risking the rubber band breaking? If we get to the end of the year having done everything that we wanted to do and we're the only ones left on the team, I don't think that we could by any measure say that it was a successful leadership experience, although we may have learned something along the way.
Absolutely. One other area I wanted you to talk about is your speech contest journey, because I have watched some of your speeches that were in competition, and I have a lot, just personally, I have newer members in my personal home club that are wanting to compete this year, that they're trying to get to that level 2 and finish it so that they're eligible. And this is why they're here, that this they think will help them in what they want to accomplish. Practicing, setting up, coming up with a topic, that whole process of competing. Tell me a little bit about that for you. How does that challenge you, being a contestant in a speech contest?
I've got a little story of where I almost left Toastmasters after 2 years because of contests. And this isn't a bad story. This is, I joined Toastmasters to push out my comfort zone. And of course, I'm a naturally competitive person. So I entered in all of the speech contests. I won a few, just happened to be at that time, there was a very, very good speaker in our club. And for the first year, he used to beat me hands down. And the second year, I got a little bit better. And I ended up beating him a few times, or he wasn't around. And so I went to the area. And every time I went to the area, I got second and second and second and second. And the same person beat me. And I thought, hey, fantastic. I've been a Toastmasters 2 years. I've got a lot out of it. I'm calm as a speaker. I'm confident as a speaker. I've got 4 seconds at area. Wow, that's fantastic. I've achieved everything I could possibly do. I can leave now. And that basically is where I was. And if I hadn't got asked to be the president in that third year, I definitely would have left. I thought I had achieved everything. And I think part of it, as I was alluding to before, is that if you're just trying to get away from being bad, then good is easy to achieve. And so if anybody comes up to me and they say, yeah, I'm interested in competing, but I want to be really good, I want to do really well, I say, well, good is not good enough. You have to aim for perfection, realizing you'll probably never get there. In fact, I've never seen anybody who's ever got there. So what I've learned over the years is there's a member who is from Christchurch, who's been a member for 25, 30 years. And he sums up competing in a way in one sentence. Takes you 5 years to learn to speak like a Toastmasters and five years to get rid of it. So it basically means is that we all get evaluations very much on our delivery, not so much structure. Because delivery is seen and it's heard. So the next time you turn up at your club, imagine out of all of the evaluations, how many are talking about eye contact, gestures, body language, stage movement, all of those sight and hearing things. But it's not so much about the structure of the speech, the effectiveness of the message, etc., because that actually takes a lot of work. That almost takes a bit of experience. You've got to have reached a certain level of investigation, of critical thinking, of writing speeches to get beyond the surface. So what do I say to anybody who wants to compete? Well, first of all, it comes back to that I'm a professional speaker and I get asked, what does it take to be a professional speaker? And I say, you have to believe that you are worth paying for. It is not actually whether you were that good. there's a lot of professional speakers out there. I would never pay 2 cents to go and listen to them. And they probably think the same about me. So that's fantastic. All right. But if you believe that you're worth paying for, then you're going to stand on that stage in a certain way. You're going to communicate a certain way. You're going to be authentic. You're going to be connected, because you're not going to be walking around the stage wondering what someone's thinking about you. So you first of all have to believe you're good enough to be a professional speaker. And if you're good enough to be a professional speaker, you're good enough to win a contest. And once you know that you're good enough to win a contest, you're going to walk up to that stage even before you're introduced and look like a winner. You're going to feel like a winner. So that moves me on to stage 2, is that nerves and fear and all this come about because you're internally focused. I'm looking at you, but I'm thinking about me. I'm looking at Christy looking at me, and I'm thinking, what is Christy thinking? Is she thinking that, I just realized I got no glasses on at the moment, but, are my glasses on my nose the right way? Are my jeans, okay? Is my shirt okay? Have I ironed it? Am I standing the right way? Is my gesture repetitive? Whatever. I'm really trying to mind read Christy or whoever is in the audience, wondering what they're thinking about me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's taking up a lot of my brain. My brain would be better off thinking, are you getting my message? Absolutely. If you're not getting my message, what do I need to change on the fly? Mm-hmm. So, for example, with table topics, you really have to hit it and go. There are some people who say you hear the topic, you pause, you think for 10 seconds, 30 seconds. I'm completely the opposite. You hear the question. If this was real life, maybe sometimes a person would pause, but basically you know the answer. Mm-hmm. You hit it and you go, the answer is this. And then you spend the rest of the 2 minutes supporting it and making sure that you've got a summary. If you've got the big gestures, the big voice, the vocal intonation, if you're in your speech, if you're living your answer, do you notice that when I talk like this, I am not saying a lot of words per minute?
Agree.
Do you notice that?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm using my hands, if I'm using my voice, if I'm passionate, if I'm in the moment, then there's not too many words for my brain to come up with. My brain's got so much more time to come up with the rest of the answer. Mm-hmm. So that's tabletop. It's just hit it and go and be really expressive. It actually buys you time and nobody notices.
Yes.
In terms of the international.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, in terms of the international, I'm a shocker. I cannot write a speech to save myself. I've got a real mental block about it. I think I've written 6 speeches in my life. I got second in our district last year, ad-libbed every way through. But most of the time I knew what I was going to talk about. Mm-hmm. But I got to the district and I must have had 10 speeches in my head. And I couldn't work out which one to go with. And I almost didn't care. So I came up with an idea the morning and a friend said, oh, you better write that down. I said, no, I'm not going to write it down. I'm not even going to touch that idea. And they said, why not? I said, because then it becomes a 7-minute table topic. And I'm just going to rate myself to come up with the material. So I did something which I think is as important as a speech. That before I went on the stage, I sat outside the hall, and I sat under a stairway in a chair in the dark. And all I did was close my eyes and said, who does Rob have to be to win this contest? What do I need to look like walking up onto the stage? What do I need to exude once I start talking? And I did this, and I want you to think about this. Most international speech winners make you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Most international speech winners have some kind of presence. Most international speech winners have like a big statement early on, and then they support it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I can do that. What's my first line going to be? And then I thought, no, actually, don't even want to think about my first line, because then I'll be architecting it. I want to be completely free. But I knew what my idea was. And it was based on a little story that I've told a million times. And that is, every now and again, I hop on my bike and I ride up to the dairy, all right, the shop up the road, and I buy a $1 packet of jet planes. How would you feel? How do you think I would feel if the storekeeper opened up the $1 bag of jet planes, took half the jet planes out, sealed it up, gave you the half packet of jet planes, but still took your $1? Would you feel ripped off? Why do you steal your own jet planes? Why do you pay your subs at Toastmasters and don't take all of the jet planes, all of the opportunities presented? So the speech was about opportunities. Eat all your jet planes. Just
Okay,
in
Rob.
case you're wondering, a jet plane is a lolly.
Okay. So I've seen that speech. You're telling me that that was at the district level, that you sat in the dark under the stairs and created that moments before you did it.
Yeah.
All right. That's a skill and a gift not everybody has. And I know we're getting close on time, but I wanted to just really reiterate one thing. I know Rob because of Toastmasters. We would not have crossed paths, would we, otherwise? I know Rob because of Toastmasters. He has given me knowledge and information that has helped me personally. And we keep in touch. We see how each other's doing. And absolutely, this is why he's on the call today. And I just encourage you as members, as leaders, to expand your circle of influence and expand your circle of resources that are out there within this organization. And just as I have, and coming across Rob and meeting him and getting to know him, I have been enhanced by it. I know you have too, right?
Absolutely.
Right? For knowing me, just teasing. You are an example of what coming to Toastmasters can help you do as far as knowing more people, bringing more resources into your world. You are not only there because you need something. What do you bring? Rob brings a lot to the table when he comes. He had leadership, he had knowledge, he had business experience that he brought to the table and has enhanced the members in his meeting and in his district as well. And Rob, I really appreciate your time. And more than anything, I appreciate you getting up at this awful hour on your end to join us and talk about your journey in Toastmasters and the Mcguire program, how it has enhanced your life, but in return, how you have brought those skills and the leadership abilities that you've gained and brought it back and given back to this organization as well. And we appreciate that tremendously. And thank you so much for joining us today. And we will get you a copy of this because we're recording this. So we'll definitely do that. And if anybody wants to catch any of Rob's speeches, I'm sure you can find them on YouTube.
I try not to point anybody because I haven't come up with one that I'm really proud of yet.
Well, either way, thank you, Rob, so much for joining us. It was a pleasure, and good luck to you in New Zealand. You guys are in a little better situation than we are with the COVID right now. Enjoy those in-person meetings. We really do miss them a lot. And make sure that, and I know they know this, but make sure your members know that they're very fortunate to be able to have that right now, where the rest of us are not so much as fortunate. So it was a pleasure. Again, thank you, Rob, for joining us. And I will turn it back over to our district director, Joanne Monroe.
Thank you, Christy. That was very educational and great job, Rob. I appreciate your coming to share with your story with us. At this time, I'd like to turn the event meeting over to our immediate past district director, Stephanie Schrader, who will lead us through our Hall of Fame today. Stephanie.
Thank you, Joanne. Good morning, fellow District 22 Toastmasters and guests. Welcome to the 2020 Hall of Fame, where we're going to recognize the accomplishments and give awards to people for what they did last year. Most of you know that last year was a little rough when March came. We were doing really good, and then COVID came and everything crashed down. All of our leaders for this past year did a phenomenal job in making sure we stayed on track as best as we could. So Sam, if you'll go to the next slide. So let's take a look at our district leadership team for last year. And at the end, let's all congratulate them and thank them for a job well done. The executive team included myself as your district director, Joanne Monroe, Program Quality Director, Christy Profit as Club Growth Director, Diana Van Sickle, PR Manager, Darren Yarbrough, Finance Manager, Terry Ann Porter, Administration Manager, and Jim Christine, our immediate past District Director last year. Next slide. We had an extended team as well. So Dan Jarman worked as our logistics manager, and we totally redid his job last year. April Hendrickson served as the credentials chair. Barb Grenade and David Whitner split up the audit committee chairs. And Jim Christine and David Whitner split up the leadership committee chair. We had Al Voorhees as our procedures chair, and Sam Cook and Barbara Kelly were our conference chairs and did a really great job until we suddenly had to cancel our conference. Next. Let's take a look at down further into the district. Our division directors, Shed Mayberry, Division T, Linda Pulls, Division A, David Mccoy, Division L, Kevin Farnham, Division K, Samantha Cook, Division E, Dan Arbuckle, Division R, Terry Burns, Division S. And you see now that we no longer have a Division E. Samantha did such a good job, we did away with the whole division. Next. Our area directors. When we look at Division T, we had Marion Wimberly, Jill Ramirez, Ron Stewart, and Amy Martins that led the areas for Division T. Next. Division A, we had Tony Anholt, Mary Augustine, Adriana Albernaz, and Tracy Coln as that team. Division L, David Wooten, Alex Welsh, and Randy Mackey rounded out Division L. Division K, Peter Pizer, Division K, Peter Pizer, and Austin Morgan. Division E, Rick Chandler, Eduardo Vivas, Dennis Beebe, and Ricky Walker led those teams. Division R, Susan Ikazaki, Barb Kelly, Jerome Montgomery, and Rick Chandler. Division S, Chris Hooper and Scott Caldwell. Thank you, everybody, for all of your work and helping us to get through this past year. We're going to go into some distinguished Toastmasters, but because of time constraints and previous commitments, we're going a little bit out of order. So first we want to recognize from this year, August 30th, Peter Pizer. And everybody that got their Distinguished Toastmaster Award this past year, I asked them to send a photo and then a brief bio so that you'll get to know them a little bit better. So those that provided that, I'll let you know that information. Peter completed his doctoral work at Rutgers University and was named Professor of the Year by 3 universities, the University of Wyoming, UNLV, and the University of Phoenix. As a manager, he served as chair of an international relief organization operating in 80 countries. He has spoken and traveled to Asia, South America, and Europe. Oh, Peter, are you tired? He has written 5 books and is most proud of The Power of Mentorship, which shares secrets to leading effective change. He is a virtual communications consultant and advises Toastmasters and other leadership and civic groups. He lives in Prairie Village with his wife, Cindy, Adam, his 7th grade son, and a rescued racing greyhound dog, Dulce. Terry Ann, if you could zoom us to Olathe, Kevin Farnham would like to say a couple of things about Peter.
Thank you, Stephanie. It's been one of my great privileges and pleasures to work with Peter over the last few years. He has been phenomenal in stepping up when we had struggled in Division K and we lost one of our area directors, not necessarily for a bad reason. She had a child and is in the process of raising her child, but had to step down from being one of our area directors. Peter was our area K41 director, and without missing a beat, he stepped up and said, how can I help? I'll take on the responsibilities of K42. And he did a great job helping out the clubs in both areas. He has assisted me in putting on TLIs by being an instructor in one of our TLI sessions. And he has now gone on to become the area director. So he is the successor, but he's also helped to mentor me a bit. He's been a wonderful area coach for a club, and they've gone on to great success. He just keeps on giving of his time and always thinks of himself as being a service provider rather than just being a participant. I think you've heard from Stephanie on, he has been international, he's been a professor, he's written books, he's written articles, he has been in TV series, documentaries. He's one of our great speakers. So it is my honor and my privilege to give him the Area Director of the Year award. So I'd like to recognize Peter Pizer for his work in the area. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter. We wanted to get this to you before you had to go do your responsibilities. Have a great day. We'll get you your award soon, Peter. We'll jump back into our regular order of speaking. So we'll go through our distinguished Toastmasters first, now from July 1st of 2019 through June 30th of 2020. So Kevin Farnham, you're up first. In July, you got our first DTM of the year. Kevin is a charter member of Garmin GPS Club, which began in 2014. He received his Distinguished Toastmaster in July of 2019. He served as Garmin GPS Club Officer in the roles of President, VP Ed, Secretary, and Sergeant at Arms. He has served in district leadership as Area K Director and then Division K Director. He has taught at various TLIs and other training events. Kevin is currently serving as club coach for the Rivergate Toastmasters Club, and they have an open house coming up soon. And here's a piece of information most people probably don't know. Kevin is having his midlife crisis late in life, which has resulted in him signing up to take pilot lessons. I hope your wife has increased your life insurance policy, Kevin. Second, in July, we had Diana Dodd receive her Distinguished Toastmaster. Next slide. And third, in August, next slide. In August, Andre Red received his Distinguished Toastmaster. Andre has been a member of Toastmasters since October of 2015. His passion for personal growth and for helping others to grow has afforded him the opportunity to be in leadership roles at various levels within the district. Some of his memorable Toastmaster moments include being named Toastmaster of the Year, second place in the recent district speech contest, receiving his Distinguished Toastmaster, coaching a club to President's Distinguished that had not been distinguished for 15 years, and having the opportunity to meet and work with some amazing people. He currently serves as president for 2 amazing clubs. Outside of Toastmasters, he's a master coach, a trainer, certified project manager, licensed financial service professional, and is currently pursuing his master's in psychology. Next. In August, Dwayne Dewey received his Distinguished Toastmaster. Next. Also in August, Kent Bryan received his Distinguished Toastmaster Award. He's been a Toastmaster member since 2002, a founding member of Cerner PowerSpeak IT Toastmasters, president of Spirit of Liberty Toastmasters. Kent has also served in roles outside of the club as well to serve the district. Next. In September, Richard Horton received his Distinguished Toastmaster. Dick is a park and recreation planner, management consultant, and professional speaker with a national practice in field of parks and recreation. He's a former certified park and recreation professional, a current certified planner through the American Planning Association, a fellow in the Academy of Park and Recreation's professional, a distinguished Toastmaster, and a TEDx speaker. Dick previously served in the National Recreation and Park Association as director of its Western region and an office located in Colorado Springs. Prior to that, he served in the communities, County of Hannibal, Missouri, Pittsburgh, Kansas, and Los Alamos, New Mexico, as Director of Parks and Recreation. They could have a TV show about you, Dick. Dick is involved on a daily basis with clients who have needs in the areas of strategic planning, park system master planning, recreation program analysis, feasibility studies, fees, and AMP, charges, policies, park maintenance, management plans, visioning, and goal setting workshops. Thank you, Dick. Next. In September, Shed Mayberry received his Distinguished Toastmaster. He began his Toastmaster journey in the Manhattan Toastmasters Club in September of 2013. He's been in Toastmasters now for 7 years. He's held officer roles at the club level, except treasurer. We'll have to get him to do treasurer someday. Area director for T13, 2 years. Area Director of the Year in 2019. Successfully served as club coach for Hayes and Junction City Toastmasters. He served as Assistant Division T Director in 2017 and Division Director in 2019, and is currently serving as Division Director this year. He's proud to serve the members of Division T and District 22. Next. Julie Hartig. In September of last year received her Distinguished Toastmaster. She is currently retired and living in New Mexico. Does it not look like she's having fun? Hiking, riding, and exploring the land of enchantment. Next. Maslin Prosper Mayberry received her Distinguished Toastmaster in October last year. Next. Margaret Hodge received her Distinguished Toastmaster in October of 2019. In October, Amber Jewett received her Distinguished Toastmaster Award. Amber is the Global Governance Manager for Leggett & Platt Automotive Group, responsible for governing master data, business processes, systems, and control standardization across all branches. She has previously held roles in Leggett Business Systems Office as a profitability analyst starting in 2012 on the Customer and Product Profitability Project, and later became Profitability Manager in 2015. Amber also has experience in quality costing positions at R.R. Donnelley, a global provider of integrated communications from 2007 to 2012, and worked in frontline supervision for Crane Company, a diversified manufacturer of highly engineered industrial products from 2005 to 2006. Amber started her career in Leggett & Platt in 1999 as a trainer in the Corporate Continuous Improvement Department and spent 2001 to 2005 as the Continuous Improvement Facilitator at the Beddings Group Carthage Spring Branch. Amber holds a BA in Business Administration from College of Ozarks and an MBA from Missouri State. She, her husband, Jason, and their two children, Aubrey and Jack, reside in Carthage, Missouri. Amber has been a member of Greater Joplin Toastmasters since 2013 and has held various leadership roles as president and treasurer. Next. Deanna Schwartz received her Distinguished Toastmaster in November of 19. She's a member of Sunrise Speakers, currently serving as secretary and previous past president. Next. Clarissa Dalton. She's been a Toastmaster since October of 2002 to overcome her fear of public speaking. She literally shuddered at the thought of speaking in front of more than 2 people. She's come a long way and has served as area director of area director 63 in District 30 in Chicago. She was a club mentor for Imbibe Toastmasters in Niles, Illinois, and VP of Education for 3 Toastmasters clubs. Most recently, she has served as club president for Bootstraps, VP Public Relations for A Taste of Success. She's returned from her deployment, she's back, to Afghanistan and will begin a new chapter in her government career with a new agency. Toastmasters has provided her many valuable tools to be successful in all areas of her life. She looks forward to learning more and acquiring new speaking and leadership skills. In her spare time, she enjoys writing, creating art, hiking, biking, and binge watching documentaries. Next. In December, Albert Cohen earned his Distinguished Toastmaster. It was with great sadness that we learned that Al passed before we had everything submitted for his Distinguished Toastmaster Award. His medallion was presented, however, to his family by Darren Yarborough after his death. Next. Daniel Hutchins received his in December of 2019. Dan has over 30 years of public accounting experience, including 5 years with Deloitte & Touche. I think that's how you say that. He has assisted in the startup, operations, and sale or acquisition of many small businesses. Dan currently serves on the board of directors of 2 publicly traded companies he has worked with from inception, Digitally Ally and Infinity Energy Resources. Dan also serves on the board of directors of Argentine Federal Savings, He enjoys working with a diversified client base in taxation, financial planning, wealth management services, and consulting in general business and finance activities. Dan has served on the board of various nonprofit groups and foundations. He is a trustee and board member of Washburn University Foundation, the Community Foundation of Johnson County, and various private trusts and foundations. Dan has served as an instructor for the Becker CPA exam with Keller Graduate School of Management and has over 17 years of teaching experience preparing candidates for the CPA exam. Next. Samantha Cook earned hers in January of this year. Samantha works as a senior program manager in technology communications at the new T-Mobile. Samantha currently is active in 2 clubs, Articulators and A Taste of Success. She currently is serving as the assistant to the district director for District 22. Previously, she served as an area director, division director, club coach, and was last year's district conference chair. She also has coordinated a district TLI. Samantha is a single mother of 2 young adult children and has loved every Toastmasters experience. She holds a BS degree in business as well as an MBA. Next. Emanuel Solis in January earned his Distinguished Toastmaster. Emanuel Solis has been a member of Toastmasters International since December of 2012. He moved from Denver, Colorado, District 26, our gain, I'm sure, 2 years ago, where he served in multiple roles such as club president, club sponsor, a Pathways ambassador, Pathways guide, and an area director. He currently belongs to the Bonner Springs Toastmasters Club. Next. In January, Paul Mcdonald won yet another Distinguished Toastmaster Award. He is a speaker, trainer, parliamentarian. Paul Mcdonald has delivered more than 750 fun, entertaining, and interactive speeches, keynotes, and training seminars for top associations, corporations, and colleges. He's been an active member of Toastmasters since 2006. In 2010, he completed the program to be named Distinguished Toastmaster. In 2014, he did it again, and a third time in 2016. In 2019, he completed his 4th Distinguished Toastmaster. This program was the first in the district to complete under the Pathways educational platform. Now we have down January. I'm sure there was a time discrepancy in getting all of the paperwork submitted. He is top 25 international for all-time completion of Toastmasters education programs, having earned over 150 education awards from Toastmasters International. Paul served as a district parliamentarian from 2012 to 2016, and again, filling the role for the 2018-2019 year. And of course, he told me no last year. He is a member of the National Association of Parliamentarians, where he earned a perfect score on his membership exam. He has been a featured contributor in National Parliamentarian magazine on the best methods to lead and host successful meetings. And he teaches high school youth best practices with Robert's Rules of Order. And Paul, because you were the first person to earn your Distinguished Toastmaster Award in the Pathways program, we got you a little trophy to recognize that accomplishment. So thank you very much, Paul. Next, David Mccoy. In February of this year, earned his Distinguished Toastmaster. He joined Toastmasters in 2011 as a member of Early Bird Toastmasters. Almost immediately, he was asked to chair the Technology and Website Committee. He's been responsible for all technology at club meetings, website development, and overall tech needs of the club. In 2018 and 2019, he was Area 42 Director 2019 and 20, he served as Division L Director. He was one of the club sponsors for KCRC Toastmasters and has been a coach for Metcalf Toastmasters. Outside of Toastmasters, he's been a Scoutmaster for Boy Scout Troop in Lee Summit for the last 14 years. He's been a member of Downtown Kansas City Club for 21 years. He was club president in 2018 and 19 and will serve as district governor for Rotary District 6040 in the 2021-2022 year. Next. Linda Wilson earned her Distinguished Toastmaster in April of this year. It's a pleasure to be part of the 3 Toastmasters clubs, A Taste of Success, Blue Jacket, and Let's Grow Something. Linda says thank you very much to members from these 3 clubs for helping her to achieve her goal of becoming a Distinguished Toastmaster. She started her Toastmaster journey in 1997, completed 10 speeches and went on to other adventures and rejoined Blue Jacket Toastmasters in 2012 to improve her communication, public speaking, and leadership skills. It's been an amazing roller coaster ride in her Toastmasters journey. As a professional realtor, Toastmasters has afforded her opportunities to be a better communicator with sellers, buyers, escrow agents, inspectors, appraisers, and other realtors. She can affirm that the benefits of Toastmasters are limitless. Are you ready to take your Toastmasters experience to the next level? She invites you to begin. It's never too late to follow your dreams. Diana Van Sickle earned hers in April of this year. Diana joined Toastmasters and Don't Stop Talking in July of 2015. She's filled several leadership roles during this time, including VP Public Relations, President, and is currently the VP Education of her home club. She also enjoyed her years as an area director and learned much about Toastmasters and District 22 as the public relations manager during the 2019 and 20 year. Diana believes that completing the different projects to complete her Distinguished Toastmaster Award was worthwhile for both her personal and professional growth. She's now working towards another Distinguished Toastmaster in the Pathways program. Next. Vance Collins earned his in May of this year. Alexandra Cornett earned hers also in May. Karen Bryce earned one in June of this year. Ross Schultz earned one in June of this year as well. Jeanette Allen earned hers in June of 2020. Jeanette has been a Toastmaster since 1996 and finally attained Distinguished Toastmaster in June of this year. She truly is the tortoise, slow and steady. She started out in Plaza Toastmasters and eventually joined Emerald City Toastmasters in 2007, holding memberships in both clubs until 2016. When Jeanette joined Toastmasters, her intent was to improve her presentation skills and to gain confidence. Within a month of joining Plaza Toastmasters, she became VP of Education. For some time, she shied away from setting a goal to reach her Distinguished Toastmaster because it seemed so lofty. After a few years of active involvement with Toastmasters, she realized that she had already fulfilled many of the requirements, and she set her sights on reaching that Distinguished Toastmaster. She's still a member of Leawood, formerly Emerald City Toastmasters, and is serving as the VP of Education this year. Jeanette has held every club office and has served in many of them multiple times. She has served in a variety of roles for the district, including TLI coordinator, frequent presenter at TLI officer training, district contest training chair, club coach, district conference registration chair, regional conference public relations, area governor, assistant division governor, and district secretary. Jeanette won the Division Governor of the Year in 2007. Next. Jill Ramirez earned hers in June of 2020. Wes Klein also earned his in June of this year. And rounding out this year is Bob Driscoll in June. We have a few for our current year that we're going to recognize today. Our first is Dwight Rumpel. In July of this year, he earned his Distinguished Toastmaster. Dwight's journey in Toastmasters began in early 1982, when several people from his office became part of a speechcraft program presented by the then Topeka 361 Club, now called Heartland Club. Upon completion of the program, the members started a new club named Meadowlark Toastmasters Club 2210 in March of 1982. Dwight has served in all of the club officer positions, has served as an area governor and then division governor on 2 separate occasions, in 1984 and again in 2003. In addition to remaining an active member of the Meadowlark Club, Dwight served as a club coach to power speakers and helped them become President's Distinguished this past year. He is now also a member of that club and is serving as their treasurer. Next. In August, Dane Dillon earned his Distinguished Toastmaster. And now I will turn it over to our District Director, Joanne Monroe.
Thank you, Stephanie. I would like to continue on with our recognition for our Communication and Leadership Awards. We had several awards in both the traditional and the New Pathways program. For the competent communicators, we had 45, 57 advanced communicator awards, 30 competent leadership, 35 advanced leadership, 23 high performance leadership awards, and 29 distinguished Toastmaster awards that you were just we just recognized. Next. For Pathways, we had 222 level 1s, 126 level 2 awards, 90 level 3, 59 level 4 awards, 33 level 5s, and 1 member completed our Pathways Mentor Program. Next. We had 88 Triple Crown winners this year. And in order to get a Triple Crown, that was, the requirement was to receive at least 3 awards in the current Toastmasters year. So I will quickly read through these recipients. Leslie Abram, Romeo Adjum, Hader Alsali, Jeanette Allen, Brad Anderson, Leslie Anderson, Tony Anhalt, David Antalik, Dan Arbuckle, Mary Augustine, Aaron Baker, Sahila Bosheri, Kent Bryan, Terry Burns, Catherine Capps, Angie Ciofalo. Next. Kevin Clark, Wesley Klein, Vance Collins, Tracy Cohen, Tammy Davis, Dwayne Dewey, Marla Dickinson, Dane Dillon, Brandon Dills, Zuen Doan, Diana Dodd, Janique Douglas, Clarissa Dalton, Bob Driscoll, Mike Edwards, and Stephanie Edwards. Next. Stephen Eilert, Kevin Farnham, Christopher Farrar, Kaynez Feruzabadi, Amy Fuqua, Brian Gartland, Christian Gran, Kiyomi Grease, Julie Hartig, Eddie Herman, Margaret Hodge, Richard Horton, Daniel Hutchins, Amber Jewett, Barbara Kelly, Teresa Lewis. Next. Rachel Mayberry, Shed Mayberry, David Mccoy, Paul Mcdonald, Kim Myers, Singh Navneet, Wilson Nyabero, Rekha Patnick, Rex Pollock, Joshua Pedersen, Lori Pong, Terry Ann Porter, Maslin Prosper Mayberry, Jill Ramirez, Andre Red, and Morgan Rayberg. And I just want to point out that Shed had the most Triple Crown or awards this year with 11 awards. Congratulations, Shed. Next, please. Michelle Saunders, Chandra Schemmel, Ross Schultz, Deanna Swartz, Emily Shoup, Madison Smith, Sheldon Smith, Emanuel Solis, Timothy Spexarth, Scott Spilkey, Stephanie Schrader, Ron Stewart, Matt Sullivan, Jack Sykes, Ryan Van Dusen, Diana Van Sickle. Next. James Wagner, David Wells, Candy Williams, Larry Wilson, Linda Wilson, Mike Winkler, David Wooten, and Amy Zins. Congratulations to all of you. Next. We want to recognize those members that have also already completed 3 awards. Mike Edwards, Tammy Fink, Barbara Grenade, Rhonda Green, Doris Ibsen Hardaway, Amit Kapadia, Clarice Maceberg, and Paul Maceberg, Shed Mayberry, Michael McVeigh, Lori Pong, Andre Red, Dwight Rumpel, Carlos Salvatierra, Jacob Samore, Joseph Spexarth, and Joanna Wong. Keep up the good work, everyone. As part of our Distinguished Club program, we had several clubs receive distinguished or better status. So we want to recognize them as well. Those clubs that achieved distinguished status, which was having at least 5 or 6 award or DCP goals, was the Blue Cross Blue Shield Kansas Toastmasters, Freedom to Speak, and Wichita Downtown Club. Next. Select distinguished is when you have 7 to 8 DCP goals achieved, and Lee Summit achieved that this year. Next. We had several that have achieved the President's Distinguished status, where they had 9 or 10 awards or the goals completed. A Taste of Success Toastmasters, Articulators Club, Blue Jacket Toastmasters, Cerner Innovative Toastmasters, Early Bird Toastmasters Club, Garmin GPS, Lenexa Toastmasters Club. Next. Let's Grow Something, Lionsgate Toastmasters Club, Manhattan Toastmasters, Plaza Toastmasters, Power Speakers, Professionally Speaking Toastmasters, Springfield Toastmasters. Next. St. Joseph Toastmaster Club, Table Talk Toastmasters, Top Box Toasters Club, West Wichita Toastmasters Club, and Wichita Jammin' Toastmasters Club. Congratulations to all our distinguished clubs this year. Next. This year, with the impacts of COVID-19, Toastmasters International created some new awards for our clubs. This Online Ovation Education Award was meant for clubs in order for clubs to qualify for these awards, they need to meet both of the following criteria by June 30th, 2020. They had indicated in Club Central that they allowed online attendance. The club must have allowed online attendance between January 1st and June 30th. If the club already allowed online attendance prior to January and continued, they met that criteria. if the club did not allow prior to January 1st, but since then has began allowing those online attendance, it would qualify. But clubs that have never allowed online attendance at any point between January 1st and June 30th would not qualify. Then the second piece of that is they need to achieve the listed education goal requirement in one of two tiers. The first tier, Gold Award, was presented to those that achieved 6 education goals in either the traditional pathways or a combination of both. The second tier, which is the Silver Award, was presented to those that achieved 4 education goals, either traditional pathways or a combination. So for the Gold Tier Award, we had Wichita Jam and Toastmasters, Aero Achievers Toastmasters, West Wichita Toastmasters Club, Hayworth Wichita Club, Sunrise Speakers Toastmasters Club. Next. Professionally Speaking Toastmasters, Don't Stop Talking, Top Box Toasters Club, St. Joseph Toastmasters Club, A Taste of Success Toastmasters Club. Next. Let's Grow Something, Plaza Toastmasters Club, Great Joplin Toastmasters Club, Springfield Toastmasters Club, Power Speakers, and Manhattan Toastmasters. Next. The Silver Award went to Excellent Toastmasters Club, Lee's Summit Toastmasters Club, Cerner Innovative Toastmasters, Lionsgate Toastmasters, Bootstraps Toastmasters, Tower Talkers Club. Next. Also to KUMC Toastmasters, AAFP Toastmasters, Table Talk Toastmasters, Jack Springfield Speakeasy, Bonner Springs Toastmasters Club, Empowered to Speak Toastmasters, Power Cat Masters. Next. The Great Revival Award was presented to clubs that were suspended as of April 1st, 2020, but then they reinstated between April 1st and September 30th, 2020. Outspoken KC was able to do this and achieved this award. Congratulations. Next, please. Membership consistency. Based on a club's membership base, as calculated on July 1st, 2019, the first award, the Consistency Award, was presented to any club that experienced no net member loss. A second award was presented to any club that experienced a net member gain by June 30th. So those clubs receiving the no net loss award of consistency were Spirit of Liberty Toastmasters Club, KUMC Toastmasters, Table Talk Toastmasters, KU Toastmasters Club, Heartland Club, Kennedy & Co. LLC Club, Junction City Toastmasters. Next. Toast to Health and Wellness, AGCO Heston Toastmasters Club, Hayworth Wichita Club, Freedom to Speak, Speak the Truth Toastmasters Club, Early Bird Toastmasters Club, and Rivergate Toastmasters Club. Next. The Resiliency Award, as mentioned, they actually had a net increase of members. West Wichita Toastmasters, Groover Labs Toastmasters, Lee Summit Toastmasters Club, Cerner Innovative Toastmasters, Q Masters Club, Articulators Club. Next. Lionsgate Toastmasters, Toastmasters Unlimited, Lenexa Toastmasters, Professionally Speaking Toastmasters, Bootstraps Toastmasters, St. Joseph Toastmasters Club. Next. Ag Masters Toastmasters, A Taste of Success Toastmasters, True Talkers, Let's Grow Something, Sunday Speakeasy Toastmasters, and Fedmasters Toastmasters Club. Next. Also Speaking Eagles, Empowered to Speak Toastmasters, Power Speakers, Security Benefit Toastmasters Club, Manhattan Toastmasters, Blue Cross Blue Shield Kansas Toastmasters. Next. We had 4 new clubs charter in 2019-2020 year. AGCO Toastmasters, KCRC Toastmasters, TMDC Toastmasters, and Junction City Toastmasters. So welcome to those clubs, and we look forward to more this year. Next, please. I will now turn it back over to Stephanie to present our Of the Year awards.
This is the part you have all been waiting for, right? Terry Ann, as Zoom master, can you Zoom us to north of the river so we can have Eddie speak a few minutes for us? Oh, well, maybe he's not in north of the river.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Marvelous. Sponsor of the Year award this year goes to someone who has done a fantastic, maybe even what you can consider a very difficult feat. She has taught, she has shown value in the Toastmasters brand, in the Toastmasters program, and she's exercised ultimate championship of others' growth by sponsoring a club. I hope you feel inspired.
Oh, well, I guess Eddie froze up.
Please give
Would
a
you
hearty
like to know?
applause.
Oh, there he goes.
Can you not hear me?
You froze, Eddie.
I did. That's unfortunate.
It is.
Am I still frozen?
No, you're good.
Perfect. Which part did you last hear?
Oh,
I
was
believe
too
you're about
focused
to
on your-
announce the person.
Yeah.
All right. Very well. It gives me much pleasure, and I hope you feel as honored as I do to introduce the sponsor of the year for sponsoring Junction City Toastmasters, Maslin Prosper Mayberry. Please put your hands together. Give a virtual applause.
And you see your award, Maslin? It's pretty.
Stephanie, I'm here. I have no words. I'm sorry. Thank you.
You don't have to speak. We just want to make sure that you're recognized for the work that you did for Junction City. So thank you so very much, Maslin. And we'll get this trophy to you soon. Hey, Terry Ann, can you zoom us down now to Lee Summit so Amy Zentz can talk about our next award?
I think I may be next, Stephanie.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, sorry, Amy. We're going to go to Joanne. My apologies.
I am going to be announcing the Area Director of the Year Award.
Who?
The Area Director of the Year Award. This member has invested time and talent over and beyond this club, with the club that he mentored. In addition to him still working with the club in an effort to assist them through an entire year, he understands that it takes a village to help raise up a new club, and has invited a number of strong district members to participate in their meeting to impart knowledge and wisdom. He has also been instrumental in getting KCRC members involved in other activities such as contests, train the trainer training, and other district events to ensure they are both developing a strong network and support systems, and to give them insight on being involved at the district level for what will hopefully be a part of their Toastmasters growth. Please help me congratulate our 2019-2020 Mentor of the Year, Andre Red.
Do you have that award, Joanne?
I do.
Joanne, and
Is
thank
it
you,
packed away?
Joanne. I get it.
Yeah,
Like-
sorry. I just realized I didn't have it in my on my person here. So congratulations, and we will get that to you.
Ditto, as Madeline said, I have no words. Thank you so much.
Okay, Terry Ann, now let's zoom on down to Lee Summit and talk to Amy Zentz.
No one tells you when you join Toastmasters, it's like joining the circus. Every meeting is led by a ringmaster whose job is to introduce the program, engage the audience, and keep the show moving along, while at the same time trying to control the monkeys and the clowns from scaring off the guests. Each meeting contains 2 acts, and in the first act, we see a variety of performers showing off their skills in a death-defying act we call public speaking. In the second act, the animals perform, not being able to control their actions in a show we call table topics. Now, what if one day no one wants to come to your circus and you have limited performers? Sometimes you have to reach out to a more experienced ringmaster to help you retrain your monkeys. You need a ringmaster that doesn't take things seriously to help bring back the fun to your circus. Really get those clowns laughing. Sometimes you seek help from a ringmaster to show you how to add fire to your act and encourage you to get that tightrope just a little higher off the ground so you can see your full potential. Even an old tiger can learn new tricks. Our club found a ringmaster that was skilled in all performances and all acts and was available to help you with your act, even outside the normal performing hours. Our ringmaster made you feel like your act was the biggest, the bestest, most dangerous, amazing, spectacular show on earth, even if you fell off your tightrope. Like a circus, some moments are more spectacular than others. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the greatest act to our circus was when we got Ringmaster Club Coach of the Year, Rick Chandler. Rick brings so much to our circus. He makes every audience, guest member, performer feel like they bought a ticket to the greatest show on earth when they come to a Toastmaster meeting. Rick is always available. He's there to challenge you, to make you a better performer. Now, even though Rick is not an ACB, we still look up to him as a mentor and a friend. Please congratulate Rick Chandler, Club Coach of the Year.
Thank you, Amy. That just means I'm the biggest clown in the group. Have a great day.
Terry Ann, can you take us over to Overland Park so Eduardo Vivas can talk to us?
All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm really happy and proud to announce the Division Director of the Year. This is a wonderful member that we all have a great appreciation for. Her leadership, service to members, inspiration, and embracing Toastmasters values have made her the Division of the Year. I could talk for a long time about the great qualities as a human being that she has and she brings to all of us. But we are in a society where we need to measure everything by numbers. So I'm gonna talk about her accomplishments in numbers. 5 of the division clubs became distinguished because of the excellence provided by this leader. 2 of those clubs in the division achieved President Distinguished status. The first Zoom contest in the district was possible thanks to the service to the division members and the desire to make a very successful division. The goal was to provide opportunities to all the members through innovation and adaptability to have a great contest. This leader raised to the occasion and successfully beat the challenge that COVID-19 brought us and gave us an amazing division contest. Now, this service went also beyond the division borders, and now all members of District 22 benefit from a quick and smooth transition from in-person to online events. We have online trainings, meetings, conventions, thanks to this leader. Everything this leader did was with integrity, respect, and always keeping in mind the best for everybody. She always thought about doing what is the best for the Toastmaster community, including her team of area directors. We had monthly meetings that were very informative, helpful, used the time wisely. We always got an agenda time. And she was always available to help her team even after the meetings. This year has been challenging, and with all of that, she managed to inspire 2 of her area directors to become division directors. This leader is also part of a club that was struggling and brought the club back to life. She's also paying it forward, and she's currently helping another club that has been struggling with membership. And her service continued even after her division year term ended. All this have made her a very successful leader, and we're very lucky to have her in our district. And I could tell you many, many more stories about her, but unfortunately, time is running out for me. And the Division Director of the Year is
Samantha Cook. Here's your trophy,
Thank you.
Samantha.
Thank you so much. I'm very, very honored, and it takes a whole team to do this. So I had a fantastic set of area directors. They all were phenomenal. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, I'm very, very honored.
We have a couple of new awards this year. So Terry Ann, if you could zoom us down to South Kansas City and let Barb Grenade talk to us for a few minutes.
Okay, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. It is both my pleasure and my honor to be here today to present a very special award given to an amazing and probably unsuspecting Toastmaster. There are times when someone comes along and you are humbled by their contribution and what they do. I strive to pay tribute to this Toastmaster. Some of the greatest contributions to our organization are behind the scenes and not visible to all. This is a perfect example of how one person can have a widespread impact, infecting all Toastmasters, which in turn has an infectious benefit to all our members and our clubs, which helps our community and the world outside this organization's, and wow, does it need help. Dr. Mark Johnson, a professor at Pittsburgh State University, is an award-winning teacher, an international consultant, and a presenter at numerous state and national conferences. His skills have been acknowledged and celebrated in a number of industries, working with educators, unions, and the entertainment business, and he has selflessly offered his professional skills to Toastmasters for our benefit. He has such excitement working with any of us who will take the time to listen and learn. Mark is exactly the type of person we should promote as an example of how we should give to the world around us. Not only has Mark worked with current and future leaders in the district to develop a training program, which is the best I have seen, he has worked behind the scenes with individuals to help them grow their presentation, training, and leadership skills. This individual and group coaching he has donated to Toastmasters who have the desire to learn from him as he teaches skills that others pay a lot of money to obtain. It was Mark's initial idea to develop the sessions to work with our trainers and presenters to become better, and we all continue to learn. I know he believes in Toastmasters, as he acknowledges in his latest textbook, Powerful Presentations That Connect. Any one of us can understand his concepts in this textbook. Mark continues to work with Toastmasters and is such a great example to others, illustrating how the individual can contribute significantly for the betterment of us all. Mark is funny and engaging and has such patience with people when teaching, as I can personally attest to, as I still not managed to turn that gold paper into a sailboat, although I've tried 5 times in his sessions. What I admire the most is watching him in training sessions as the teacher continues to grow and improve himself as a student. I cannot think of a person who has a more of a long-term positive impact on our members, both in how he teaches and the example he portrays. I'm thrilled he's being honored this year with the District 22 Special Award for the District Train the Trainer support. Please help me welcome and congratulate and thank Dr. Mark Johnson.
Wow. Thank you very much, Barb. I appreciate it. And I thank you so much. I thought it's funny when you said, anybody willing to take the time to willing to listen. As you know, I will give a lesson to whoever shows up, but thank you so much. I want to acknowledge there's some people in the room I've seen, folks like past leaders, Rob Christensen, Kim Myers, Dave Whitner, that all inspired me early in my Toastmasters career about holding a higher caliber about what we do in Toastmasters. And that was always my idea of what TLI sessions should be about. And after going through a few frustrating trials with that, I thought we can do better. We're Toastmasters after all. We teach the world to speak, and we weren't doing a very good job of it, frankly, but we are getting better. And I am amazed at the work you guys are doing, and all of you are taking that out and changing the way Toastmasters helps improve lives. Look at our numbers of awards this year. Surely that's a beginning and a good effort. So thank you very much.
Sorry, guys, my computer's about to die. And we have 2 more really great awards to give away, so I've got to plug in. Now, Terry Ann, this might be a little bit of a stretch, But can you zoom us out to the East Coast and let Kim Myers talk to us for just a few minutes?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I have been given the honor to introduce our next award winner. This person is a champion of helping District 22 transition into the world of COVID-19, something we never, ever expected. This person developed videos to demonstrate how to perform basic and advanced tasks on Zoom. And these videos were vital in supporting our members, clubs, areas, and divisions in holding meetings, contests, district meetings, such as our virtual conference, and district business council meetings. Additionally, this person dedicated time to conduct a training session to impart that knowledge to Toastmasters and support our district leaders. This person has also been designated a Toastmasters International Zoom Master of the Universe, as they supported my co-region advisor, Matt, and I in conducting district leader training in August for the leaders in regions 3 and 4. This meant dedicating and devoting hours in the evening to help Matt and I practice the 6 two-hour training sessions that we had to live. And I must admit, they went flawlessly. We could not have done it without this person and several other folks' help. All of these efforts have resulted in my being honored to say, ladies and gentlemen, pull your arms and your legs in as we present Terry Ann Porter with the District 22 Zoom Master of the Year Award. Terry Ann exudes those qualities of a Toastmaster. She's creative, innovative, supporting, and honestly selfless. Thank you, Terry Ann, our Zoom Master of the Year.
All right, thank you, Kim. All right, Terry Ann. We need you to come back to Kansas City. Can you go clear over now to Kansas City, Kansas, where our current or our past Toastmaster of the Year will pass off the big, awesome trophy to our next winner. So let's head over to Andre Red's place and listen to him for a minute or two.
Yes, Andre, you do have to pass it along.
Okay, now that I've gotten past the fact that I have to pass it along, first, thank you so much for having given me that honor on last year. But I just want to get straight, to the point. I'm one of those get straight to the point. The 2019-2020 Toastmaster of the Year is, don't even think it, you're not getting ready to get it yet. How many of you have come in contact with the person that has done extremes amount of service and work, and yet if you met that person and they never told you, they have such a humility and they have such a servant heart and a servant spirit, always accessible, always available, always excited about helping you, even in those times when they really may not be. And so this person that I'm describing is one who, when they come into your meetings, when they come into your events, they literally just change the atmosphere and just make it positive and make it so productive and fruitful. And so I am just so honored to be able to pass this great award on to someone that has helped the district out in so many capacities. Last year, they served as a chair for the TLIs last year, attended every session to ensure they were spot on. They were the chief judge for the Toastmasters International Contests, were the district leadership chair, making sure that we're bringing in the best of the best in our leadership for next year. And this person also does the job that everybody is fighting to do, and that's the district audit chair. Can I get you, if there was a way we could do standing ovations, can I just see thumbs going up and hands clapping as I present this award to a man that is just near and dear to all of our hearts, and that is Mr. Bowtie himself, David Whitner. David, your name is right here.
Yeah.
It says 2020 David Whitner promo and the club number. Congratulations. This is now this is now your yes. Congratulations, David.
And you get to keep this one, David.
Great. Thank you all. This is a great honor, and it is always a privilege to work with everyone in District 22. I thank you for all that you do, and it's an honor to be recognized and to be appreciated for the work that I get so much satisfaction out of providing to you. So all of you, keep up the good work, and thank you for all that you do.
Well, thank you, David. And I'll be getting in contact with you shortly for another task that I'd like for you to do. Collect your trophies. All right, that's it for the Hall of Fame, everybody. This year
Wait. I have one more to introduce.
Oh, back to Joanne.
I would like to thank and present our district director from 2019-2020, Stephanie Schrader. With this award, the district director award is hard to see, I know, but for her outstanding service and exceptional leadership that she provided us last year. So thank you, Stephanie, for all your service and what you've continued to do for us this year as immediate past district director.
Well, thank you, Joanne. It was an honor to serve with all of you and to continue to serve this year in the capacity that I am. So everybody keep learning, keep leading, and help me find tomorrow's leaders today so that we can continue on our path of great leadership. This year we did things just a little bit different. We're virtual, of course, and coming to you from my living room. But we asked members this year to send in their feedback. Who did they want to be the Toastmaster of the year? Who did they want to be Area Director of the year? So that it would be a choice of the members. And I hope that that continues moving forward and that the members continue to voice their desires on who they want to be of the year in the coming year. So that's it for the Hall of Fame. I'm going to pass it back over to our Program Quality Director, Christy Profit, to close us out.
Thank you, Stephanie. Looks like we gained just a few minutes, which is very unusual, but I will take them. As most of you know, I can fill a few minutes with no problem. I would like to talk to you about this next portion of our program. We call this a leadership summit because we're talking to leaders. And sometimes as we become a leader, we kind of move up into that stage of becoming leaders of other leaders. And I know that's a term sometimes that gets overused, but honestly, being a leader is one thing, but being in charge of other people that are leading others, it's a whole nother level of leadership. And that's what you do in Toastmasters. You become that leader, maybe at the club level, but when you start to move up into leadership and become an area director, division director, so forth, you are helping those other leaders that are impacting our members the most. And I want you to challenge yourself, or I ask you to challenge yourself in stepping up into those positions as they become available. And I would like to introduce what I'm calling a leadership panel, but it will be very interactive. interactive, and it's not going to be a Q&A. It's going to be a very interactive leadership panel. I have chosen 4 Toastmaster members in District 22 that I have gotten to know and have really admired and respected for their individual journeys and walks in life. First of all, I'd like to introduce Chris Nicholas. I met Chris not very long ago. Chris is a fairly new member to Toastmasters in my part of the district, and he is a member of Table Talk Toastmasters. Chris joined Toastmasters in March of 2020. So very, very soon, not very long ago, Chris became a Toastmaster member and immediately stepped up into leadership. And I want to talk to him about that and his journey as well. Also have Marla Dickinson. Many of you know Marla and the great accomplishments that she's had and the great contributions that she has brought to Toastmasters. And also Rob. Who doesn't know Rob, right? Are you sick of seeing Rob? I'm not. That's why I asked Rob to be here. He brings a lot to the table, and I want to talk to Rob as well. And we also have Romeo Adjum. Technically, Romeo lives in another district. He lives in Northwest Arkansas, works in Carthage, and is a member of Table Talk Toastmasters in Joplin. And Romeo brings a very unique perspective to his journey in Toastmasters. So I've asked these 4 Toastmaster members to share some insights about themselves, their journey, and their leadership contributions that they have brought to Toastmasters, and also what they take away from Toastmasters. It's not all about giving, it's also about taking away. And we all do find value, I think, in this organization. So I wanted to ask, just first of all, if Rob, since you've been with Toastmasters the longest out of this group, could you just give us a little snippet of your Toastmaster journey and what brought you to Toastmasters, how you got started?
Sure. You hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. So in 2005, I was serving an active duty in the United States Air Force at McConnell Air Force Base, just outside of Wichita. And I was talking with my chief about post-Air Force times, about our pending retirement. Neither of us knew when we were going to do it, but we're talking about the job interview process, and I was talking about how worried I was. He said, Rob, and by we, he meant me, we should find Toastmasters. And so I went out and found a club nearby, the current Aero Achievers Club, 3990. And you don't know what you don't know. And I found them online, and I sent them a note like, "Am I allowed to visit your club?" You don't even know what it means to be a guest in these cases. And they were super welcoming. They brought me in, and over the next couple of years, I worked in the initial parts of the traditional path at the time. And when I retired and went out for job interviews, I felt a whole lot better about the process because I had been practicing what I like to call speaking in regular clothes, because it's a whole lot different speaking in a corporate environment than it is in a military environment. It's really easy when you outrank everybody in the room. You can, do almost anything. But in this corporate environment, it's a whole different mentality and a different jargon and things like that. And getting that feeling was really huge for me and made it a lot easier. And then over the years with the recession and now even this year with COVID being out of work early this year and having to do Zoom interviews, Toastmasters again really paid off and helped me to find work in May of this year of all times, which was a very nerve-wracking time to be looking for work. I'm sure if any of you had to do that during that time, you know what I'm talking about. In fact, I think a lot of people probably very nerve-wracking about keeping their current jobs if they had them. So Toastmasters has always made me feel more comfortable in that regard. And that's really kind of what brought me to where I am and what's kept me as a member over all the years as well, along with the networking with so many great people as well.
Wonderful. That's great. What a unique way that you came into the organization and that you have continued as well. Marla, I know you came to Toastmasters in a corporate setting. You came to Toastmasters because of your job and the partnership that your company had with this organization. Tell us about that.
Yeah, exciting. The experience that I want to recall was sitting in a boardroom one day with our chief executive, with my peers, a team of 20 people, and we did a round table. And in the round table, he was specifically asking each of us how many years we've worked in finance and what areas of finance we've worked in. And as it came around to my turn, I started to reflect. I've been in finance over 15, almost 20 years, but I've been laid off 9 times. I currently work for US Bank, but I was laid off by US Bank more than 15 years ago. So I've come back to the same bank. But the reality was, after leaving that meeting, it was an epiphany to say, are you working towards just being comfortable and going into retirement? I found myself not showing up in areas of development. So I made a conscious, deliberate effort from that day to start working on myself. It was at the same time that US Bank had just chartered or working to charter a Toastmaster club. So I quickly joined and started listening every day to affirmations, getting my mind right. And as I started unfolding and growing, other peers in my area, it caught on. They could see the changes in me, and that was self-rewarding. What really made me decide to join was the fact that I didn't want to be in a position of layoff again and not have myself together. I needed to better position myself. So if it came about, I would have the networking piece. I would start developing relationships, reaching out, and just in a mindset of continually to grow. It's not something you pick up one day and you put it down the next. It's a lifetime journey, as all of us know. And I can't think, looking back, that experience that day in the boardroom really opened my eyes, and I'm very grateful and thankful for that. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's a great, what I like about that is that you got it, that you got that this is something that will help you and maybe set you apart from some of your other coworkers and help you in a long-term sense, not in the moment, but looking at this could happen again to me, and how am I going to prepare myself? What can I do today to prepare myself to be in a better position if this happens, and so forth. And so that's wonderful that you saw that and you got that. I will tell you, I have the privilege of also knowing Romeo because he's in my home meeting as well. And I met Romeo a couple years ago when we started the Monday night JOMO meeting in Joplin. One meeting in Joplin for many, many years. And we decided to start this second meeting on Saturday. And then we started the Monday night meeting as well. And Romeo, I'm not sure. No, I do remember now, but you can share with us. I do remember how you knew about Toastmasters when I met you. But Romeo is one of those individuals that I met 2 years ago. And when I meet him today in Toastmasters, he has developed skills and brought things to this organization that are so unique and such a blessing to the rest of us. But share with us, Romeo, how you knew about Toastmasters and what brought you in the first place, and how you became a member of the Joplin Toastmasters.
Thank you, Christy. I really appreciate you inviting me on this panel. And I want to also, little quick before I dive into my Toastmaster story, is just give a kudos to Marla, because I really like the fact that she raised the fact that we need to work harder on ourselves than our jobs, because I can recognize from all those layoffs, she kind of really worked hard on herself, and Toastmaster really pushes us to do that, because it's not easy to just come home and pull your Toastmaster.org platform and then get a speech and prepare for it. That's you working hard on yourself. So kudos to you, Marla. And in the same perspective, I was looking for a better way to sound better to American natives. I grew up in Northern France, and French is my first language. I really was looking for a way to understand me really better. Quick story on the side. I believe as soon as I immigrated to the United States in 2007, I drove through a Burger King and I told the gentleman I would like a booger. He said, what? I said, I want a booger. He said, can anybody explain me what he wants? We don't sell booger. And I said, yeah, I want a booger. And my wife said, honey, it's burger. Oh, I want a burger. So for me, I was sounding really good, but he couldn't understand me.
Mm-hmm.
And that frustration kept going for the longest until I came across a friend that worked at the Department of Defense in Maryland. And she mentioned Toastmasters. And she did tell me that's an organization where I can improve my speaking so that Native Americans can understand me better. And there's also a secret that she won't reveal to me until I come to the first meeting, which was back in 2014. And what I discovered at that first meeting is a whole bunch of leaders. And I think armed forces do a really good job at raising leaders because the Department of Defense just have a whole bunch of leaders in their rooms. And here's the first thing I got from Toastmaster going to that meeting is it seemed like it's a meeting where other leaders help other leaders become successful. And from that point on, I decided to move slowly on learning how to speak English better. And moving to the Midwest about 5 years ago, I was on the quest of finding another home club, and jumping online, I was able to find the job plan Toastmaster, and I joined.
Thank you, Romeo. We have lots of comments about your Burger King story. Thank you for adding that. That was very entertaining. And yes, many of us will never go by a Burger King again without thinking of you. I appreciate that. I will tell you, Chris Nicholas has just been in Toastmasters since March, but he has jumped in with both feet. Have you ever, as a Toastmaster member, had a new member come in that was so excited to get started and wanted to jump in there? They didn't want to wait, wanted to do their icebreaker the next week. Don't we love those kind of members? Don't we wish we had more of them? Well, Chris was one of those members. And when he came to Toastmasters, we, and I say we because of our other members in that club, like David Wells, Jonathan Bunn, we sunk into Chris and we just embraced him and brought him on board. But Chris, as someone who is a mature adult like myself, what brought you into Toastmasters in March of 2020?
Thank you, Christy. I will say this, it's a good thing that I am a member of Toastmasters because the question you asked me, I could take 4 hours, but Toastmasters has taught me to be able to do it down into about 4 minutes. I learned about Toastmasters from, believe it or not, my dad. After he retired from the Army in '89, he joined Toastmasters as he was starting his consulting training company. And I didn't think anything about it. It didn't mean anything to me until earlier this year. One thing that he shared with me that I want to share with everybody here, and I don't say this to say I'm somebody special or he's somebody special, but I want you to understand how important Toastmasters is. My dad was blessed enough to have Zig Ziglar as a personal mentor. But Toastmasters, 15 years at Toastmasters, helped him hone his message that allowed him to become a member of the National Speakers Association and a certified speaking professional. So Toastmasters is an incredible organization. So yes, I'm very excited about being a part of it. How did I get here? Well, I said this to a friend of mine the other day. Normal and my name have never been used in the same sentence, ever. I joined the Army out of high school, spent my time jumping out of airplanes, playing infantryman, got out and went to college, and then started my climb up the corporate ladder. It was mentioned Kevin had a midlife crisis. I believe he was getting a pilot's license, something else that I'm doing, but my midlife crisis came at 40 years old when I decided I wanted to find out if I could be a combat leader. So at 40 years old, I joined the National Guard, volunteered in February of '05 to join, volunteered for Iraq in March, received my orders in April, and left in May. I spent a year in Ramadi, '05-06, learning and perfecting my skills the best I could as a combat leader. My first entrance into combat was when we were flying in, and as we came over Southern Fallujah, our aircraft was hit with anti-aircraft fire. There was a few moments there we didn't know if we were crashing or if we would land. And when I stepped out of the plane and I looked back and saw the damage, the hole in the aircraft right behind where I was sitting, I made a decision right then and there that I wasn't going to come out alive. I had this peace, absolute no fear for the entire time that I was there. I, like most veterans that have come back from war, struggled to reintegrate into society. And 11 years after I got back, I found myself in a hotel room with a gun to my head, thinking that suicide was the only option to stop the emotional pain. Well, I've spent the last 3.5 years working on me and understanding why I was going through what I was. So let me bring all this back to Toastmasters. In January of this year, I lost my job, and I decided that I was going to follow what I felt God's purpose for my life was. I talked to my dad about it, and he said, you need to join Toastmasters. You need to hone your message and learn how to speak. I said, Dad, I've been speaking all my life in corporate America, doing training. I know how to do this. He said, no, you don't. And Table Talk has been amazing. They have helped me to speak better. I've spent the last 30 years, I just moved back to the Midwest. I grew up here in Kansas, but I spent the last 30 years in the South. You know, we're going to go down to the Burger King. You want to? I used to go over there, but I don't go there anymore. Toastmasters has helped me work on that. So I am involved and loving it because it is providing me with an opportunity to grow, to get better. And by doing that, I'm going to be able to help other veterans that are struggling.
Well, thank you for deciding to step into Toastmasters and finding Table Talk as that vessel for you, because you have absolutely enhanced and blessed our club with your presence. And that's the next thing I want to kind of go to. I don't know if that qualifies as a Southern whatever, but yes, we have also enjoyed having people come into our meeting that bring things to the table. We've all had those members that are coming in and that are terrified to speak and they need to get over that fear and so forth. But someone like, well, really all of you that are on this panel today, you came in with something to offer, whether you realized it or not. You brought things to the table, you brought skills. And this is another thing I really want to make sure that everyone listening hears this, that it's not just about what you get out of it, it's what you bring. And it's also the people that you meet there, because my life is enhanced because I've met the individuals that we're talking to today, because they brought something to the table. So just like Rob and Chris bring military experience along with other. And Romeo have also brought unique leadership things that they have also brought to the table as well. And knowing them, having them in our meeting and having them step up into leadership, I think was a blessing to each of us. And I know Romeo kind of fell off, maybe he'll join us again, but let me just ask Rob, when you started in Toastmasters, did you get involved in leadership right away? I think we may be hearing a familiar term today, which is voluntold. Maybe that's a new Toastmaster term. Tell us, Rob, about how you got into leadership in Toastmasters in the beginning.
Yeah, I actually I joined in September 2005. Then I deployed right around Christmas time of 05. I got back in May of 2006. And where I was at, I was actually able to give a couple of speeches. So I almost finished my old level 1 back then in the traditional program. I came back in and my club was having elections that week, and they had written up all the positions on the board, and they had got names for 6 of the 7 positions, and they had this line under VP Education. And my mentor said to me, "Hey, Rob, you should try that." And he was the current VP of Ed, so I had interacted with him as my mentor and saw what he was doing as VP Ed. So I wasn't completely blind going into it, but it was, it wasn't so much a voluntold. I probably could have got away with saying no, and I could have played the I just got back card or whatever. But I went ahead and did it and jumped in. So yeah, within my first year, I was VP Ed. The next year, I was both president and area director, and then division director, and into the trio, and so forth. So yeah, I got in early and often, definitely.
And how did that translate into your military career at the time, being a leader in Toastmasters?
I think I was still active duty as an area director. That was around the time I retired. And one thing that I found, we have those leadership excellence programs and some of the other, there are so many things, and I use those. We built a club on Mcdonald back then, and I used a lot of those Toastmaster programs with the military members on base because they fit so well in the type of leadership that you learn. You may be surprised to hear this, but in the military, they teach servant leadership, actually. And don't get me wrong, you're still going to have a situation, and I can't speak for someone like Chris because I was never in a combat situation, but that environment is going to be a little different, obviously. But the training environment that gets you ready for that, it's all about supporting your troops, and it's about, the troops accomplish the mission and the leaders support the troops. And so it's very much the same way where in Toastmasters, we have that mentality that as leaders, our goal is to help others succeed. And like you said, what you bring to the table helps others succeed. And in that process, you learn and grow from that as well. And I think the military, that gave me kind of a clean transition, so to speak, into our program because so many things were similar in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Marla, to talk about your corporate experience with Toastmasters, I know last year, or gosh, time flies, I don't know when we did this, but tell me how Toastmasters has helped you kind of shine within your own organization.
Within the organization, last year, several of the district leaders joined in, and there was a leadership appeal to leaders within US Bank to get their employees to join Toastmasters. We were looking at the benefits in selling that. The way that it's allowed me to shine, definitely, I've received a promotion since then, kudos to that, but it's allowed me to better position myself among my peers. I have individuals that will come up and ask for assistance, and that's a good feeling that you can have when you talk about serving and being a servant to others and teaching. A lot of the things that Rob touched on, I could relate to. I took a lot of the modules learning within Toastmaster and brought them in to my workplace. So I wasn't each time reinventing the wheel. And each time there was a success with a certain project or training or module that I was working on within work, I would attribute it to and ensure that the leaders know this is something I've gained from Toastmaster. Here's another benefit of Toastmaster. And they were seeing that. Within evaluations are huge. I've been, like I've said, in a lot of different positions, leadership, supervisory positions in the past. And if I had to do it all over again, a lot of the tools that I've learned today within Toastmasters would have helped me 10 years back or 15 years back on the simple arrangement of communicating, the listening, the honing in on the empathy, all of those tools that you're gaining. The leadership within US Bank, they're excited about the opportunity that Toastmaster has brought. And even my immediate supervisor today is looking to join the Toastmaster group. I can't say enough about what it's done. There's a corporate, US Bank is also a corporate partner to UFSC, and many of you have joined in on the fact that we're looking to charter. I know Andre's a mentor, Dan, Christy, you all have been a part of some of those sessions along with Stephanie. UFSC, which is Urban Financial Services Coalition, I sit on the board with that organization, but we're in the process of chartering a Toastmaster group or club within that organization. A lot of the reasons those professional individuals has come to me because they've seen the growth within myself in speaking, being a member of the board, being able to communicate and bring in other individuals. I also have subcommittees where there are leaders within other financial institutions are looking to learn. They're eager to understand what your story is. When we talk about personal growth and a person can see, and you can be honest and real, and many of you, I've learned just that. When you talk about your story and you talk about your path on where you started and where you are today, that is a selling point for a lot of individuals because I get people all the time saying, how did you manage it? What were the steps that you took? They want to know the formula. You know, we take things sometimes for granted, but people want to know, what did you start off doing? I'd wake up every day, listen to inspirational stories, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Les Brown. These are individuals, it's working from the inside out. And when you condition yourself and you create a ritual and a habit each and every day and make that conscious, deliberate effort to work on yourself, what goes in comes out and it starts being a part of your normal routine and you start showing up. A lot of individuals will say, I can't afford to take the time. I don't have time to join Toastmasters. Maybe I'll join in a year. Maybe I'll join when there's a better time. And what I say to them is, you can't afford not to. And that's something that I honed in on that meetings with leadership more than a year ago, is to bring the awareness to, we're not looking to, or individual doesn't have to recreate the wheel or build in time. What you want to do is use the tools that you have and utilize the time that you have by working through the modules within Toastmasters, and it'll take care of itself. I don't look to go ahead within the leadership path and find something. I look for the jobs and the duties and responsibilities that I currently have. For example, I was tasked with creating a training manual. I used that with one of the modules, delivered the training session to individuals, and received credit within Toastmaster, also received credit on my annual review within my current position. That alone shows the growth in leadership to your supervisors, to your peers. And I just can't, there aren't enough words to express the gratitude and the feeling that you get when you're able to see the results. And it's not something it's a personal thing. I guess that's what I want to say. It's more personal. Someone asked before, why are you working on yourself? You seem to speak okay, and you're doing just fine. Why are you continuing to work on yourself? It's not for anyone else. It's for yourself. It's a personal decision. And even with my husband, he says, well, what's the benefit? I said, well, honey, the benefit is I'm communicating with you better. It's holding our family together. I am feeling the daily reward by getting up every day, the inspirational feeling you get when you see the accomplishments, the tangible piece, and it's there. Yeah, I could go on and on, but I'm going to let Chris speak. I was so inspired by your speech, and I could relate to the fact when you were saying you hit a pivotal moment in your life where it was a decision, almost a crossroad, where you decide it was like do or die. And even in my life, I could relate to that. Being laid off over 9 times, I could have gotten depressed. I will say I was never out of a job. I always kept relationships. But as you gain age, not that I'm getting older, but as we mature and things change, the younger generation is coming up. What are we going to do as middle-aged individuals to better position ourselves? I'm not ready for retirement, but I need to ensure that I can still take care of my family and have the lifestyle. So how do I do that? I work on myself each and every day because that person coming behind me is younger. They are may have the educational piece that I didn't gain at a younger age, but it's never too late.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. You mentioned Chris, because we all kind of got together. Romeo and I got together one-on-one. The rest of us got together Thursday, and we kind of just got to know each other. And I know that you are grateful that you have met Chris now and that you are familiar with him and you will connect with him further. That's what it's all about. It's about the networking possibilities that we can do. Chris, you're in the middle of writing a book. And you asked me if I knew an editor, and just the layers of connection and relationships that I've built within Toastmasters, it benefited you. Tell us about you wanting to write a book and how Toastmasters has helped you kind of with that process as well.
I wish I would have paid more attention in English class in high school and college. Writing is not as easy as I thought it would be. Yes, I am finishing up writing a book, trying to figure out how to get it published and make sure that what I'm saying actually means something to somebody. You all still got me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So I came to you and I said, Christy, do you know anybody in the Joplin area that does book editing? And you said, no, but I know somebody in Toastmasters whose wife is an editor. And I said, that's great. She in Carthage, Webb City. You're like, no, they live in Canada. And it has worked out great. We're working together. So the networking that comes from Toastmasters for me has been absolutely huge.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Romeo, I want to ask you something. You took on a very daunting yet exciting, fun task not too long ago about leading and heading up a youth leadership program. And I was so impressed with that. My own son, at the time, I think he was 16, my own son went through that. Tell me why you took that on and what that did for you.
Sure. I believe Chris mentioned earlier that his dad personally worked with Zig Ziglar. And on his late words, he has a famous saying that goes, if you help enough people get what they want, you can get what you want. So the reason why I actually helped those youth improve their skill over the summer is because of what that was going to make out of me. So I mentioned earlier, English is not my first language. Mm-hmm. What a better way to learn from children. I have my own children that constantly tell me, Dad, hey, this is how you say this word. And me taking on that really hard task on teaching those youth during the summer how to improve their skills kind of really helped me improve myself. And one of the thing I'll probably say also about that is I'm gonna use an analogy for this. Uh, when we go to work and we're leading a group at work, we, I would say we can lead really good a group of sheep. Sheep goes where you tell them to go. But then you come to an organization like Toastmasters, you put together a youth leadership program where you teach them how to speak. That's like herding a group of cats, which is really hard. But when you manage to do that, what it makes of you is a person that grew a little confidence, a person that have more integrity. Because you can't really lie to kids. You can't make up stuff. You can tell them things that you don't know. And me going through the process of teaching them everything we have in Toastmaster kind of build my confidence and also build a lot my integrity around the program that we have for them.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. It also gave us some press and some marketing because the local news came and interviewed us for this youth leadership program. And it helped us locally to expose Toastmasters to more individuals in the Southwest Missouri area. So keep that in mind as well as you take on these projects to let your local media know the things that you're doing in the community, helping leadership or youth leadership and so forth. It can also help promote the organization as well at the same time. So it was a win-win for everybody. And I kind of want to do, with our last few minutes, I want to talk each of you about that stepping up into leadership and what advice you have for those that are deciding that they may have dabbled in it a little bit and they're wondering whether to keep going and what that would do for them. Rob, you have really done a lot in Toastmaster leadership and went very, very high and spent a lot of time and dedicated yourself to that. For those that are thinking about stepping up or trying to decide if it's for them or if it's worth it to them, give us some advice on what you think about stepping up into leadership.
Yeah, I would say know what it is you want to achieve, because if you have a specific goal in mind and you want to pursue that goal, that's fine. If you're not sure, but you want to improve your skills, remember that you don't have to go after big titles off the bat. I mean, you can work your way up. And, you know, when I first joined and when I finished my year's area director, when I was in my year's area director, I kind of thought that was the only thing I was going to do. There was another area director that was more experienced than me. And I thought, he's going to be division director. And then I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to stop here. And I don't know why, but at the time it was just like this feeling that you have to go from one thing to the next in succession when you really don't have to continually try to move into the next role every single year. You can take a break or take a role. You know, we gave Terry Ann an award today for being a Zoom master. That didn't exist last year, right? Or 3 years ago. And there are things like that are leadership roles that are not well defined, that can be super beneficial to you as a person in your growth and to the organization by helping others out. And you may see there's a gap, and instead of saying, well, I have to be area director, I have to be district director, I have to, et cetera, maybe you could be the person that handles the mentor program for your club that helps your VP Ed. That's an actual job that almost nobody fills. We all make the VP Ed do it themselves. And so there are opportunities like that you don't have to say, well, I got to do a full year. I've got to do, you know, maybe you can just help with like this event. You could be the person that created the Eventbrite. And that's a thing that would help out without committing you to a full year first. And so there's so many opportunities. In fact, it's almost overwhelming, but, you know, talk to other people about what they need, what your club needs, what the area needs, talk to your area director, et cetera, and consider those type of roles along with, of course, we still need people who want to step up and do the area director and so forth. Those are really great roles. But don't think that you can only go one path. There's so many different ways you can go.
That's a great way to look at it. It's definitely as much time and commitment as you want to give to it. We have something for you to do. And keep in mind, when we're doing these pathways and these projects that are in level 4 and level 5, there's all kinds of things that you could do to satisfy those projects and those HPLs, those high performance leadership projects. Romeo, I just wanted to ask you, do you have Toastmasters on your resume, and has that at all helped you when you've looked at advancing your career?
Yes, I do. Toastmaster is part of all my profiles, um, whether on my resume or my LinkedIn profile. Any other avenue I can proudly say I'm a Toastmaster member because I know individuals that knows about the organization is telling them this person is looking to grow. Uh, Even if you're judging him by how he's speaking right now, he's he's endeavoring to do better. And and I have feedback like that when I start working at Walmart Corporate, at Leggett and Platt, because there's some individual that already knew about the organization, and they immediately told me, "Oh wow, you're gonna get really better going to the organization." And and yes, I think I've been growing a lot. I've really steady rates, but I'm really growing, and I really like it.
And we
And
can
if
tell.
anything, I'll probably add to
Go
the
ahead.
leadership aspect of Toastmaster is is the fact that it helps us get the personal responsibility. Jumping onto a path, just like it's been out with the new program, is forcing us to take responsibility of our growth. And if we can start owning that process, now a VP Ed telling us, hey, you need to do such speech, move to this level. As we grow more doing those pathways and going to the path that have been assigned to us, it really helps us see what we can do next. And that's what moved me to area director and aiming to that. And just like Rob just mentioned, there's other things that we can do. But the essence is responsibility. When we know that we need to tackle that responsibility, which most leaders do. I mean, look at this morning. It's about 3 hours of a conference. A whole bunch of leaders on this call, putting them time in to better themselves and learn from a speaker from New Zealand, learn from other leaders on this call because it's personal responsibility. And Toastmaster have a program set for us to bring that personal responsibility. And I'm so glad to put on my resumes that, hey, listen, I like to take responsibility for my growth and my career.
Wonderful. I have put it in different ways. I've put it under community service because I volunteer as a leader. I've also put it under education. There's all kinds of different ways you can display what you do in Toastmasters. And with that, Chris, I just wanted to see if you had something you wanted to add as one of the newest members on this panel, or the newest on this panel, if you had something that you wanted to add to this leadership panel before we wrap it up.
I was one of the ones that was voluntold, and I believe in chain of command, being a military guy. And when the E8 said, you're going to be vice president of education next year, I didn't feel that I had the chance to say no. My biggest concern was I'd been involved in Toastmasters for 3 months, and I was afraid I was going to screw it up. What I have found out is everybody in Toastmasters is there wanting you to succeed, and they are not going to allow you to fail. You may mess up, which I have already, but they're not going to let you fail. And that's what's so awesome about Toastmasters.
Wonderful. Marla, you have taken on some great leadership roles. You've helped organize events and so forth within Toastmasters. I know that you've done that in your other organizations that you're involved in as well. I just wanted to have you just share a bit about being a area director assistant, how that helped you in your role as area director.
Thank you. I assisted Eduardo last year. Kudos to him. He's an awesome mentor and person to follow. It helped me in understanding and getting connected. That was a major piece. The advice that Eduardo gave and that I took in, and I'm grateful that he shared, it was putting yourself in a position to grow. So taking the step to put yourself in that position to take on the role, and then knowing that you will have backup from the district and individuals to help you meet that success. It took a while for me to absorb that and to really see that, but as I continued to work through it, I would see how individuals within the district would step in, answer questions, give you the steps in which you need to take to complete each task. They'd follow up with the materials needed and basically mentor. You're receiving mentorship on so many different levels, on so many different pieces that not only help you within Toastmasters, but within your respective organizations or fields that you're in. It helped me tremendously to open that door. There was a bit of a fear because with our club, Leaders of Possible, being a newer club, we didn't have that comfort connection with the district. The district had always been up here and we felt like we were down there. And it enabled me by connecting with him and shadowing to get to a comfort level and realize that I can do this. If it's something I don't know, I'll receive the support and the help. The biggest takeaway is if you're wanting to grow, it is an individual responsibility. Put yourself in a position to grow and have the faith of knowing that International Toastmaster District 22 will be there to support you. You just have to step in. Thank you.
Very well said. And with that, I do want to thank Chris, Marla, Rob, and Romeo for their time and their ability to bring to the table the things that we need to recognize as far as what value you can bring to the Toastmaster table, but what you take away as well. And with that, I do want to thank everyone for joining us today. And also, again, congratulations to all the clubs and all of the leaders and all of the year winners. We know that you do this selflessly, and we do want to acknowledge and recognize that. And thank you so much for your time and everything that you give to this organization and to the members of your club locally. And you have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Enjoy this nice weather. And thank you again for joining the Leadership Symposium and Hall of Fame for District 22 of the year. We're celebrating 2019-2020. Have a wonderful day. Again, thank you for joining us.